The sun was barely up when I was jolted awake by the rumble of engines and the slam of car doors. It was supposed to be a quiet Saturday morning, the kind where the dew still clings to the grass and the birds sing without competing with the sound of tires grinding over gravel. Instead, I looked out my window and saw strangers parking all over my eastern field, my land. This wasn't just any piece of property. This was the Hartwell farm, passed down through generations. My grandfather, Clarence Hartwell, built the farmhouse himself. I inherited the 10-acre lot 3 years ago when he passed. This land wasn't just my home. It was my identity, my sanctuary, my future. I threw on my robe and stormed outside, my old dog Moose bounding beside me, barking as if he understood the violation. What I saw made my stomach twist. Nearly a dozen cars were lined up neatly in rows across the field where I was supposed to plant corn next week. A woman in a pristine blue blazer was directing traffic with a clipboard and an irritatingly fake smile. She acted like she owned the place. "Hey, what do you think you're doing?" I shouted, jogging toward the cars. She turned, clearly annoyed. "Good morning," she chirped. "I'm Rachel Porter, president of the Silverbrook Estates Homeowners Association." "I don't care if you're the president of the United States," I snapped. "You're trespassing. This is private property." She tilted her head like she was speaking to a confused child. "You must be Miles Hartwell. According to our bylaws, this area is designated as community overflow parking. We've sent several notices inviting you to join our association." "I never agreed to any HOA," I said, holding up my phone with a deed to prove it. "This farm has been in my family for 70 years. We're not part of Silverbrook Estates." She barely blinked. "The previous board had an arrangement with your grandfather. He would never allow this." A crowd of residents had started to gather, some whispering, others openly annoyed. One man, already in golf attire, yelled, "Let's move this along or we'll miss the tournament." That's when I saw the worst of it. A large truck reversing toward my tomato patch. "Stop that truck!" I screamed, sprinting forward. "You're destroying my crops." The driver halted just in time. "The lady at the entrance told me to park back here," he said. Rachel appeared behind me, visibly irritated. "Mr. Hartwell, please don't make a scene." "This is not a scene, it's a boundary. When you've crossed, you have 1 hour to move every vehicle or I'm calling the sheriff." She scoffed. "You wouldn't dare." "This neighborhood includes the mayor, 2 council members, and Judge Ellison." I held up my phone. "Try me." She grabbed my wrist, whispering, "You're outnumbered." "Let go." "That's assault," I said, loudly enough for the gathering neighbors to hear. An older man nearby muttered, "Maybe we should just move the cars." "This land is HOA property now," Rachel barked. Then a sleek black SUV pulled up. A tall man in a suit stepped out. "Is there a problem?" "Perfect timing, Jared," Rachel beamed. "He's confused about the parking." "Jared King, HOA legal counsel," the man said, extending a hand I didn't take. "I'm the legal owner. Show me a signed easement." "We can settle this over coffee," Jared offered, too smoothly. "You have an hour," I repeated. Back inside, I called the county records office. The clerk, Henry Braddock, sounded familiar. "The Hartwell farm? I knew your granddad." At the office, Henry pulled records and, after some digging, confirmed my suspicion. "No easement. No parking agreement. But look at this," he said, pulling a yellow document. "Your grandfather granted the utility company access to install a transformer right here." He pointed to a corner of my property. "You mean I control the power supply to Silverbrook Estates?" "Exactly. They need your permission to access or move it. It would cost them a fortune." I drove home with a copy of every document. On the way, I called the electric company and reported potential unauthorized access. The operations manager, Greg Fulton, assured me they'd investigate and send someone Monday morning. When I got home, I found Rachel and Jared waiting with a formal agreement in hand. "Sign this, and we'll compensate you for the inconvenience," she said sweetly. "No more vehicles, full compensation, and a signed statement that my land is not HOA territory," I replied. "You can't be serious," Jared said. I pulled out the power easement documents. "If you don't agree, I restrict access to the transformer. They left quickly. That night, I installed security cameras and took detailed photos of the damage. The next morning, a certified letter from the HOA arrived, a $5,000 fine for unauthorized landscaping. More threats followed. I called Henry, who suggested I contact Caroline Dunn, a lawyer known for fighting HOAs. Caroline took my case immediately. They're trying to break you. But we have leverage. Then came sabotage. Someone tampered with the transformer. When the electric company arrived, Rachel accused me of damaging it. Fortunately, Dave, the technician, saw through her. You showed up seconds after he did. That's suspicious, he said. A week later, at 4:30 a.m., security footage showed someone cutting through my fence. Cars streamed in. When the sheriff arrived, he shrugged. Civil matter. Caroline filed for an injunction. Meanwhile, Elena, a kind neighbor, invited me over. She showed me HOA emails she'd accessed, revealing plans to fabricate documents and reroute the power supply. This is a forgery, I said, staring at a document with my grandfather's name. Her cousin at the power company is already surveying new lines, Elena warned. Caroline secured an emergency hearing. I called the local news. At the HOA meeting that night, Margaret unveiled plans to convert my farm into a community parking space. I burst in, documents in hand. Let him speak, someone shouted. I showed the deed, the fake signature, the incriminating emails. The room erupted. He controls our power? Someone asked. Yes, I confirmed. Margaret lost her composure. You think this dirt farmer can stand in our way? Actually, I replied, your bylaws allow emergency board removal. Section 8, paragraph 4. A vote was called. Almost every hand went up. Margaret screamed, do it now. The lights cut out. Seconds later, sirens wailed. The police entered. We caught someone tampering with the transformer. A woman in a blue blazer. Margaret was arrested on the spot. 2 weeks later, I shook hands with the new HOA president at my fence. Let's work together, he said. That's all I ever wanted, I replied. Good neighbors make good fences. Great neighbors know where to draw the line.